like to refer it to the group, in the finance group on Thursday, and then get it finished off and bring it back in a month, because it's much more succinct and finished and polished.
Haven't we just voted on it?
Yes, I did ask for a vote, and the vote was 6-1 in that respect. Vote stands.
That's fine.
Sorry, I'm making copies of this. 17B, to approve the draft employment contracts for the 2 other parish council employees.
One comment to make on that, I kind of noted in there that we had to supply my laptop. It seems to be carry over from your own contract.
I only have the one
That's
contract,
the
I didn't
original.
get one from the others.
Sorry,
There was a mention of a laptop
where?
on the second contract.
And where they need
I've got that in my head that that's the case.
It does say you will be provided with in this document.
Yeah.
So it's the
But
clerk,
this-
the clerks or the other
The
banks.
others.
the other one.
Oh.
I think this is
I haven't
just
got the laws, why
The-
haven't I got the laws?
The point of presenting this contract is just to keep things moving forward. This is a draft from ACAS that we will use to
take to
take to the finance committee to complete for the 2 employees. Okay. So it's up for tweaking.
just to approve where it's got to.
So it's approving the framework for the
Yes.
contract rather than the
Yes.
contract.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah, it is very much a draft.
Sorry, Lindsay, can I just check, is this the contract that was reviewed at the last finance
Yes.
committee where we
With
ran
the
through
amendments.
with the amendments, right, that's right.
All those in favour?
Hang on. Any other comments? Any other comments for the vote?
Oh, I think it's farcical voting on them now before we're gonna look at them on Thursday, but that's my opinion.
But the contracts that are signed will be the ones that come out of the meeting on
So why
Thursday.
agree a contract now that we're
Well,
then
it's a
gonna
framework.
look at? Oh, no, whether it's framework or not, you're agreeing something that could in theory be carried forward officially as a contract, which we haven't finally sorted.
This is a basic ACAS template
With the amendments that we discussed.
for the
Just
For the- not for the clerk.
For the secretary clerk
for the secretary clerk and the
the workers.
We're asking to approve a draft employment contract.
Well, why approve a draft when we can go to a meeting, finalise it and approve a proper?
It's
we won't all
it's
be
words.
there.
All I wanted to do was bring here and say to people, look, this is the ACAS document we're taking forward. And having this approved is more than really we are looking at. This has been
It's like an instruction
Keep
to the contracts stroke finance committee that this is the sort of contract that, or the actual contracts will be based on the ACAS framework. That's how I understand it.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with that because we could look at 6 or 7 different alternative ways of setting up the contract. And I think we're just saying that the will of the whole council is that it should be based fundamentally on the ACAS framework with the tweaks and variations and the names and the terms that are relevant to the particular jobs.
And that we meet them on Thursday.
So I understand the concern, but I'm not worried. voted yet.
Even if we don't vote, this will still go forward to the Finance Committee.
Okay.
Progress is being made, that's what
Yes.
To approve the appraisal document, appraisal policy circulated as a separate document, appraisal policy. We need to do the appraisals, which for some reason hasn't got done before. Eileen and I have talked about this and talked with the clerk about it. This appraisal policy has been borrowed off the web. It seems to fit all our needs. I would like to run a plain English wash over it. It's a bit wordy in some places. But I ask for comments, questions, and if everybody is happy, we will vote for an approval.
And is it the same as the previous discussion that's going forward to the Thursday meeting for editing and
No, this one, no.
Well, you can't agree it now if you're going to then plain English wash it either.
I'll finally?
I can ask you to approve something that is as good as it is at the moment. And then I would ask you to approve the final version. We've got to start somewhere. This is a starting point.
So that we have one in place while we're working on it.
Okay, based on that.
Well, could you rephrase the motion rather than approve the appraisal policy to approve the current form of, or the appraisal properties subject to
Point taken.
whatever? So it's progress, but it's not
So
confusing.
I ask you to approve this in the form it is, subject and in the understanding that we will run it past the council again once it's had a plain English look.
Do we need to do that? Because
Or we accept it as it is.
the finance committee with the contracts working
I think-
are a committee. And I'm sort of looking at there, I don't mind it. It's just the less comes back to future agendas, the better.
Right, well in that case, we simply take this as is,
Right.
period.
If it needs amendment, it needs amendment. I think we can agree that, obviously we know that we need an appraisals policy. We've all looked at this and said that it is a suitable appraisals policy but needs some amendment or plain Englishing. And we can say that we're happy to base our appraisals policy on this structure. Would that be, everybody be happy with saying that? And then,
Delegate the response to the final decision. It's not that
It's
big an
okay.
issue.
it's okay for us to have a vote on a step in a decision-making process. That's okay, and it's not the final decision. We all still need to agree that that step is the right step in the right direction, and the way that we want to take it forward.
Yes.
That there's not a problem with that.
The
It's
niggle behind that is deferring doing the
It is.
actual appraisal.
It is.
We keep
But
kicking things down.
we
the
all
line.
know that we need to get it right.
But wasn't
Yes.
the timescale for doing the appraisal sometime in March anyway? In
Well-
which case, it's not gonna matter whether it's another month to agree something that we're all happy with the wording, that it isn't plain English, as you
The
say, and it's
appraisal
not so
should have
cumbersome.
been done this March.
So, sorry, Chair, you suggesting the appraisals will be done as soon as this policy's been signed off?
Yes.
Yes. Well, can we not delegate it to the committee on Wednesday to?
No, because the agenda's already published.
Hmm?
No, because the agenda's already published.
Oh, right, okay.
But
Well,
they could do it at the next meeting.
next meeting.
It's going to have to be that way. I know that we all want to get this signed off, but I agree with Anne on this, and I think if we've got any kind of degree of discomfort there about it, and aren't 100% on it, then we have to let it roll protocol, unfortunately.
Right. Deferred till the,
Just check something. The looks as if it's very centred around the clerk. Is there any appraisals of the other employees? Because that it would be maybe a
That
bit
should
more
be
of a.
part of an appraisal policy,
It could
not
be.
all
It
your
should be there as
employees.
a more generic policy.
that's
across
got
the board.
to, yeah, we've got to pick that up.
Yeah. Okay.
So we will defer back to committee. Correspondence, page 16.
Did you get my email from Graham Morris?
Is that what Katie
Yes.
Today,
So it's a question, yes, so it's a question about if somebody, and you probably already know the answer is, if somebody wishes to use the bridge, the stone bridge, who is responsible for allowing or denying it?
county council.
County council. Right.
I think the people that organise the plant still would be able to provide the details, 'cause I'm sure she's been in contact with I'll send you the details.
Right. Would there be a suitable area within the control of the parish council to allow somebody to do a charity stall for the Macmillan Cancer Charity? Is there currently an area where somebody could set up a stall?
Parish council would only would own rec field as suitable outdoor space. I don't know where else they could give permission for. So, I mean, I don't think it's hard to get permission. I don't think it's a big issue getting permission, because there's been a number of different sales on the bridge.
But it's nothing with county council's
Yeah,
responsibility.
but I'll see if I can get details.
On the doctor's surgery one.
But it's because the bridge gets so much traffic, doesn't it? That's why it's such a good place.
Correspondence, page 16 list.
Are we extending?
Time fly.
When you're having fun.
All those in favour of extending, please show of hands.
Because that's a bit of an open-ended question. How long still?
It's not that simple.
My quick time is 10 o'clock.
Correspondence, planning, ongoing matters, items for the next agenda. We're nearly
Oh,
ready.
still
all
got
right.
that twice, look.
I'll go for that.
It seems like we're deleting it, doesn't it?
Correspondence. Anything raising queries? Okay. Gone through. Planning, list of planning matters.
This has been on the agenda. I mean, it's been ongoing planning matter for months now. Does it have to be? Why is it there?
I just leave it on there so that we don't forget about it. So
Oh.
that then it means that when we get a decision, I can put it on there. For some reason, I assume that the list of building consent has come through, although it looks like it's slightly different. They're two different applications, so presumably they're more complex applications. Things have been moving though. They seem to have got, like, there was a point where nothing happened on the planning front, and then it all seems to like
Yeah.
move into
Yeah.
the system now. And we've just got another one that's come through.
Well, there was the low coast one that
Let's
was
just
talking
come back.
about the juicy thing. Fell off. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, finished with planning. Ongoing matters.
We are
Lindsay and I are working on a slightly updated format for this, which should be hopefully easier to follow and show what's moving, what's sort of stuck in the system a bit better. So I look forward to that. I'm just running down it and just the land transfer is completed for the surgery land. Phone box are moving forward. PO Bark, John and I are going to organise in a minute. Tree inspection should be happening. I can't remember the exact date. Was it this weekend coming, I think? Or last week? Organised, yeah.
Anybody queries on ongoing matters?
Did we ever launch anything with the traffic? You know how we were asked about the traffic and we suggested different things, like the parking around the back.
Dropped into a black hole, isn't it?
Yeah, and then we talked about perhaps a pedestrian crossing or something like that, where the right fence is for school and stuff. Did we ever get back to them and come up with any sort of feedback? Or did they give us any feedback as to why we're being majorly unsuccessful in everything that we put in the last few years?
No, so this is something that the property management group need to pick up on and make sure that we're ready. We need to be doing the work now so that when we get the request, we're ready to go, because I think that was what we fell down on this year, that we, and because the feedback came so late on the last set of proposals, we didn't get the feedback on last year's until, but we have that feedback to work on, and we can hopefully arrange some meetings with Richard and Mackenzie.
Someone's in the company.
Yeah.
Ongoing matters, and everybody happy? Anybody unhappy?
The Husk development probably should be on here.
Okay.
I just wonder if there is any updates.
No, the last I got told was that they were at a pre-planning stage where they had to submit, I think it's an internal procedure, they had to get their planning application approved internally as appropriate or satisfactory before it could be submitted. I'm assuming that as soon as it is submitted, we will obviously get the request for consultation, so I think it's just sort of sitting there while they jump through their internal hoops.
We can add to the list the Bellways approaching us for talking about the bog field, which should be very interesting.
With the upcoming meeting, do we have anything ahead of time we should discuss? What's our plan? What do we want to get out of it?
We want to know what they're proposing to do, and I think without committing ourselves to anything, we hear them talk.
I've got a huge amount of ideas on it. Opinions on it. And a 40-minute internal monologue that I've prepared.
What I was going to suggest is we need to just have a chat about the date for the meeting, because Gemma can't make the date that's proposed, so I was wondering if people could just hang at the end and with their calendars out, and we could quickly have a look at other dates that I could put to Bellway, because it will speed things up if I can suggest dates.
But are they giving us any indication of what the proposal is?
No.
Build houses, presumably.
Well, that's what I
I think that's what this
assume.
meeting is. I think that's what the meet is. He said he called it an initial meeting. I said, did he want it online or by Zoom? He said he thought, sorry, online or face to face. And he said he thought for the initial meeting, face to face would be better, which suggests to me that he envisions having a series of meetings with us. And I think that is what happened when they did the last development.
Yeah, because there are two things to my mind. If we knew it was going to be houses, we can ask lots of questions about how many and what sort and all the
I
rest of
assume that
it.
they'll tell us, but hopefully that's what.
I would take that as an assumption.
But as councillors, we're not allowed to prejudge issues. We have to go with an open mind and then have a discussion, which this council hasn't always been great at in the past, but there we are. But it would be helpful if that's what the subject matter was, that we didn't go in saying we don't want to go to full. You know, we've got to listen to what they've got to say.
This is one of the comments I would say we listen rather than spout our position.
Absolutely, but also we might have other ideas about the bog field.
Yes.
I mean, the problem is it's privately owned, but we have talked about it being a sort of area of special interest and used as a village
Do you remember that?
amenity.
Do you remember we got told to go to a meeting of the strategic planning people? You and I were there.
Yeah.
It was a Zoom
Oh
meeting.
yes, yeah.
And the NCC's
With
planning.
the highway.
Yeah,
The road.
yes, but they're on about property and stuff as well, and
Yeah.
future developments. And part of the conversation from Rob Murphin was, I think it was Rob Murphin, I'm sure it was about not allowing villages to sprawl out the landscape and become massive.
Yeah.
So to use infill sites. Potentially that makes the bog field a lot more viable for them because it's an infill, because it could be seen as an infill site. Although it's
outside the
It's
boundaries.
outside the settlement boundary though, so it doesn't count as anything.
Yeah, they've been through this once before, right up to the road down to the sewage works. Thrown out by the council, because we're concerned the village was getting too big for facilities as that. The school couldn't cope with it, and the doctors, there's no doctors now, doctors couldn't cope with it, and said no. I suggest that Felton can plant 1,000 trees along the road.
That's forest.
Get in first.
Poisonous ones.
Yes.
Good idea. We'll work on that. When is it? Next Saturday? When do we get the trees?
oh right, well.
Trees.
The ones
Oh,
who
yes,
left
all
over.
extra trees.
So I went to pick them up and had been collected by someone who wasn't me. So I
So
sent
these need trees.
so I sent an email saying that I in fact hadn't collected them, and when I got there they were gone, and they said, oh, not to worry, they're in safe keeping, and we will arrange, I think they arranged the 10th of December for me to go and pick them up. So I sent an email back saying I was told they were collected by somebody else, and they said, very sorry to waste your time, they will be there on the 10th of December. So whether they were taken by another organisation, or whether they were given away, or whether they were never there in the first place, I couldn't tell you, but there is a slight delay.
Well, the latest NCC newsletter says we have got thousands of trees ready for you to collect within the month or so.
So in the email, I got text messages and emails reminding to go, and I went along, and it was at the leisure centre in Ashington, the new leisure centre. It was really well subscribed, and there was lots and lots of people there, and I think there was a bit of a
Shortage.
well, maybe a shortage or
Probably thinks of the car.
imagine.
I prefer. Oh yeah, go. Let's get trees.
But we asked a lot to get them, and they said they'd be from a native crop of trees, although they couldn't tell me actually what we were getting. But I will, when I get them, I will take good care of them until we know where they're going to plant.
Good, all right, thank you.
See, sorry, just on the Bellevue thing, can we ask them to share just a little bit, something with us before the meeting? Because it would then help us just,
I think we've got some rights.
you know, they might be able to give us something rather than us all going in there blind, basically.
We are volunteers, we're not being paid to go to meetings with Bellway. So
Oh,
we
I
need to
really
read us a
would
bit.
do there, like, I'm
She's changing her travel plans in order to go.
Well, I'm in London Thursday and Friday, but I'm not changing my plans, but if we do it on Wednesday, then I will, I can keep the diaries on fire.
Okay, items for next agenda.
Bellway's accounts.
Well, yeah. Let me know if you need them.
Contracts and appraisals. On the next agenda. So moving forward.
Yeah, and it would be quite useful to have a map of committees and potential dates. You know, if we're going to start.
Well, I'll
working
send
to
it,
a
I'll send
plan.
it round before then, so we've got the rest of us have worked it out.
Will it appear on the website as well?
Yeah, well, it doesn't want to appear on the website if we've not seen it.
Well,
That's
yes,
my point.
I'll send it, no, but I'll send it round.
So that would be
it will,
making some
in
assumptions.
due course.
Yeah.
9:26, finished.